But in fact, we are in a civil war. In fact, the country is ironically, there are more divisions today than there were during the Civil War. During the Civil War, there was a division over slavery, which was enough to have a civil war, I fully acknowledge. But there are far more divisions today. Left and right are as divided as abolitionists and slave defenders were. They're not divided over that, obviously. Left and right agree that slavery is evil. But the divisions are far more numerous and just as deep. And they include this one. I'm telling you, expanding government is the end of the American dream as we know it. The end of the American experiment. It is. It's over, guys. It's over. Now, you may wish it to be over, and you may be a wonderful person and love America and get tears in your eyes when you sing God Bless America, and I'm not in any way sarcastic here. That doesn't make it one whit more an American value. It's over. Big government makes it over. We are diminished. See my column this week. When the government gets bigger, I've already written on when the government gets bigger, the citizen gets smaller. This week it is when the government gets bigger, you become less. You are less needed. Just as fathers became less needed when the government came in with welfare to single mothers. Why get married? Why look to a man when the government could do better for me? Okay, let's go to Chris in Surprise, Arizona. Hi, Chris. Dennis Prager.
Good morning, Dennis. It's an honor and privilege to speak with you.
Thank you.
I believe I agree with your contention that liberalism is a
not liberalism, leftism.
Leftism, sorry, is a form of religion, and I believe that the colleges are
leftist seminaries.
Leftist seminaries, exactly. I feel though that I've escaped that trap. I've been able to get a graduate degree totally online without succumbing to that kind of influence.
Yeah, that's very probable. I agree.
I think that's a good avenue that people could take if they wish to not come into that kind of influence. I think it's a good avenue to pursue.
Well, thank you for mentioning that. I believe that never in history have so many people spent so much money to send their children to be almost brainwashed into the opposite values that they hold. I don't think it has ever happened in history. Okay, let's go to Paul in Minneapolis. Hello, Paul. Dennis.
Hello, Dennis. Pleasure to be listening to your show today, and it's a wonderful, wonderful show.
Thank you.
Can you please give me your definition of the difference between liberal and leftist, at least in how in today's?
Well, there are virtually no more liberals. When I grew up, there were liberals. For example, the liberals believed that you cut taxes because liberals wanted to expand the economy. Leftists want to redistribute wealth. Liberals want to create wealth. Just to give you one huge difference. Liberals were anti-communist. Leftists were anti-communists.
Okay. So
okay.
Those would be two of the big.
Well, they're big. They're big. They're big. Exactly right. So there's very little in common between classical liberalism or even 60s liberalism and leftism. In fact, the left, the new left hated liberals, absolutely hated them. The problem is that liberals had no backbone, and they completely caved in. The liberals ran the universities, and they gave it over to the left. I saw it before my own eyes at Columbia when the fascists took over the classrooms. And the university essentially brought them coffee and asked them if they wanted it with milk or not. You're listening to the Dennis Prager Show.
If you have a friend on whom you think you can rely, you are a lucky man. If you found the reason to live on and not to die, you are a lucky man. Preachers and poets and scholars don't know you. Temples and statues and steeples won't show. If you've got the secret, just try not to.
Dennis Prager here. This is an example this hour, this Ultimate Issues hour, of an hour I'd want you to hear over and over and play for friends, because it's so clarifying, and yet for the vast majority of people so new, understanding the left as a distinct religious value system or secular value system, but it has the power of religion for its adherents. Nancy Pelosi believes in expanding government as much as the Pope is opposed to abortion. You need to understand that honors her. It doesn't take away from her. It takes her seriously. And it is an alternate view of life. It is very different from the American value system. But whether you like it or you don't like it, understand that it is a competitive value system. It has taken over Europe. It has taken over the universities. It is a very powerful one. It is the default position for people who don't even need to think, as well as for many people who do think. Michael, Atlanta, Georgia. Dennis Prager, hi.
Hi, Dennis. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
I have a question for you. Have you ever thought of running for president? Because we could use a good conservative.
Yes.
In Washington.
Okay, look, it's a painful subject. I'll be totally open with you. Yes, I have thought about it. However, campaign finance laws prevent multimillionaires essentially from running for almost any office in the country now, beyond perhaps assemblyman, and that's the tragedy. In other words, there are people with many millions of dollars who might support a person like myself, but they can give $4,000. And since I don't have the money, it renders it overwhelmingly, at this time at any rate, academic. But there is nothing more important right now than an eloquent spokesman for American values, because most Americans, in their gut, in their DNA, as Charles Krauthammer put it, do understand. As he put it, the American DNA is small government. But you need a person to articulate it, and to articulate it in a convincing and uplifting manner. And that has been lost. Look, most people are college educated. This stuff is knocked out of people over time. The battle is not lost, my friends. Believe me, it's not lost. But anyway, I was saying earlier, this is exactly the sort of hour that makes me urge you to please subscribe to the show at Pragertopia at my website, so that you could play the hours over and over and send them to people, so that they can hear it. There is a competition for the human future. That's my next book: Islam, American Values, and the Left. One may prevail. You're listening to the Dennis Prager Show.